Today, we bid farewell to Robert Redford, Hollywood's golden icon, actor, director, Sundance founder. His legacy is vast, and when we remember him, one image rises above all, soaring over Africa in the timeless epic Out of Africa. To remember Redford is to remember not just an actor, but a man of many lives. He began as one of Hollywood's most magnetic leading men, cool yet vulnerable, handsome yet thoughtful. With Paul Newman in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, he redefined the Western buddy film. With The Sting, he became the charming conman every audience rooted for. He gave us romance in The Way We Were, intrigue in 3 Days of the Condor, and timeless adventure in Jeremiah Johnson. But Redford was never satisfied with being only a star. In 1980, he stepped behind the camera, directing Ordinary People, a quiet, devastating story of grief, family, and reconciliation. That very first effort earned him the Academy Award for Best Director. And from there, he grew into a producer, a mentor, and a visionary, founding the Sundance Film Festival, nurturing independent voices who might otherwise never have been heard. And yet, even across this vast legacy, one role in particular seems to crystallize who Robert Redford was and what he gave us. That role is Denny Finch Hatton, the great white hunter of Out of Africa. Out of Africa was based on the autobiographical writings of Danish author Karen Blixen, known to the world by her pen name, Isaac Deinzen. She told the story of her years running a coffee plantation in Kenya, her complicated marriage, and most of all, her love for Denny Finch Hatton. Sidney Pollack, who had already worked with Redford on films like 3 Days of the Condor and The Way We Were, brought Blixen's memoir to the screen in 1985. The film paired Robert Redford with Meryl Streep, who portrayed Blixen with her characteristic grace and intelligence. The plot, on the surface, is simple. A married woman falls in love with a restless adventurer. But beneath it lies something deeper, the clash between permanence and impermanence, between the desire for stability and the irresistible pull of freedom. Redford's Denny Finch Hatton is a man who cannot be contained. He is a wanderer, a hunter, a pilot, a lover. He offers Karen passion but not possession, intimacy but never certainty. And in this, he embodied something that seemed almost to echo Redford himself. A refusal to be boxed in, a need to chart his own course. To watch Out of Africa is to be transported. I still remember, as many of you surely do, the first time I saw that sweeping aerial sequence. The biplane soaring above the golden plains of Kenya. Robert Redford at the controls, Meryl Streep leaning into the wind, and John Barry's score rising like the breath of the continent itself. For many, that single scene is cinema at its most transcendent. Africa stretched endlessly beneath them, rolling hills, herds of elephants, rivers cutting through the land like veins of silver. It was, and remains, a vision of paradise. And yet, like all paradises in love stories, it was fleeting. Denny could not stay. He was not a man meant for the comforts of marriage or the boundaries of convention. His life was flight, and tragically, it was flight that took his life. His plane crashing into the earth he loved so dearly. His grave, set upon the open plain, looks out across the vastness of Africa. Lions wander there still, and in that eternal resting place, we feel both the grandeur of the continent and the loneliness of love that cannot last. The film itself was nothing short of a triumph. Out of Africa won 7 Academy Awards, including Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Cinematography. It conquered the box office, reminding audiences in an age of blockbusters that romance, when told with truth and scope, could still fill theaters. And the music, John Barry's unforgettable score, gave voice to the emotions that words could not contain: longing, beauty, sorrow, and memory. To this day, those first notes transport us instantly back to that biplane, back to that love story set against the endless African horizon. And now, as we say goodbye, we look back across this landscape of a career that spanned more than 6 decades. Robert Redford was more than his films. He was a symbol of an era when stars were not manufactured, but discovered when charisma could not be faked, when presence could not be taught. He embodied a rare combination: a man of intellect and principle, who still managed to set hearts racing. We remember him as the Sundance Kid, grinning beside Paul Newman. We remember him as the weary yet determined CIA analyst in 3 Days of the Condor. We remember him as the quiet, grieving father in Ordinary People, shaping stories behind the camera as beautifully as he once did in front of it. And we remember him most vividly in that biplane above Africa, looking out across the horizon, daring us all to imagine what lies beyond. Farewell, Robert Redford. You leave us with films that will never fade, with stories that will always be told, with images that will forever flicker across the screen. You leave us with Sundance, with a platform that continues to give young voices a chance to be heard. You leave us with characters who remind us that life is at once fragile and immense. You leave us, too, with the bittersweet knowledge that even the greatest stories must one day come to an end. But like Karen Blixen's words, like the music of John Barry, like the African plains at sunset, you are eternal. And so we say, farewell to Africa. Farewell to Denny Finch Hatton. Farewell to Robert Redford. May you forever soar across the skies you loved so dearly. If this story moved you, dear viewers, I invite you to share your favorite Robert Redford film in the comments below. Was it The Sting, The Way We Were, or perhaps, like me, Out of Africa? Thank you for traveling with us down memory lane. And until next time, may we all hold fast to the beauty of cinema and the lives of those who gave it to us.